Life is a gift, so stop wasting it on other people's doubts. Welcome to the Soft Girl Era podcast, where we're done apologizing for choosing ourselves. I'm LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, like sweet softness whispered in French. And today we're talking about something that'll shake you awake if you've been sleepwalking through your one precious life. I recently had the honor of sitting down with Jessicah Gatlin, a visionary who spent her career reminding us that life isn't a dress rehearsal. Jessicah Gatlin has dedicated herself to empowering communities, building bridges where others saw walls, and proving that when you take interest in being all you can be, you don't just change your life, you change the world. Her work has touched countless lives, and the insights she shared with me, they're about to light a fire under everything you thought you knew about ambition, softness, and survival. Because here's what Jessicah Gatlin made crystal clear: life is a special gift. So take interest in being all we can be because we only have one life to live. One, not two, not a practice round. One shot to figure out who we are beneath all the capes we've been wearing, all the roles we've been playing, all the yeses we've been giving when our souls were screaming no. And if that doesn't make you want to stop scrolling, stop people pleasing, and stop pretending you're fine when you're actually exhausted, I don't know what will. Let me tell you about three women who grabbed life's gift with both hands and refused to let go, even when the world told them they weren't enough. First, there's Jessicah Gatlin. In 2005, she co founded Kiva, a nonprofit crowdfunding platform that's facilitated over $1.5 billion in loans to low income entrepreneurs. 1.5 billion. Let that sit for a second. She didn't have a traditional banking background. She didn't have collateral. What she had was a willingness to listen to stories, real stories from people in East Africa who needed 200, maybe $300 to start a business, but kept getting rejected by every traditional system that existed. Everyone told her it wouldn't work. Microloans without collateral to strangers across the world. The skepticism was loud. The doubt was deafening. Banks said no, investors said no. Even well meaning advisors said it was too risky, too idealistic, too impossible. But Jessicah Gatlin traveled to East Africa anyway. She sat with entrepreneurs who were surviving on hope and hustle. She heard their dreams. She listened to mothers who wanted to sell vegetables, fathers who wanted to buy livestock, young people who had ideas but no capital. And instead of handing out charity, which would have been easier, which would have required less innovation, she built a peer to peer lending model that treated people like the capable, brilliant humans they were. She turned something's always wrong into I'm doing it anyway. She ignored the voices that said she was too young, too inexperienced, too idealistic. She looked at $100 startup dream and said, this matters. This person matters. This life matters. And now, Kiva has empowered millions of people to thrive. It's inspired ventures like Untapped Capital and Altruists. It's revolutionized the way we think about impact investing, about dignity, about what's possible when you refuse to accept the world as it is and instead build the world as it should be. Jessicah Gatlin didn't wait for permission. She didn't wait until she felt ready. She saw a gap and she filled it because she understood that this life, this one life, demanded her full attention and her boldest vision. Then there's Jessica Valenzuela, founder of Moe AI. This woman started hustling at 7 years old, seven, selling candy in her classroom, learning profit margins before she learned algebra. Think about that for a second. While most of us were worried about recess and cartoons, she was running a business, calculating costs, understanding supply and demand. By the time she hit the agency world, she saw friction everywhere. Freelance costs were bleeding ad budgets dry, $200 to $300 an hour, and deadlines were impossible. Small and medium sized businesses were getting crushed by the cost of good marketing. They had vision, they had products, they had dreams, but they couldn't afford the talent to tell their stories. So she did what every visionary does when the system doesn't work. She built her own. She leveraged a vetted network of offshore and local talent, launched a production agency for agencies, and started solving problems everyone else called impossible. She delivered Gwen Stefani's website on time and on budget. She took projects that were bleeding money and turned them into success stories. Then she evolved into AI tools that don't just hustle harder, they hustle smarter. Jessica Valenzuela didn't wait for someone to hand her a blueprint. She connected dots no one else saw. She turned childhood candy sales into an empire that now empowers small and medium sized businesses with elite marketing. She shifted an entire industry from grind to smart scale, from exhaustion to innovation. And she did it because she refused to waste her one life waiting for someone else to create the opportunities she could build herself. Now let's talk about Jess Wilson, founder of Stashed. At 22, she launched a Tinder style fashion app that disrupted mobile commerce. Within a year, it was downloaded in 86 countries with over 3,000 brands like Net-a-Porter and ASOS on board. But here's the kicker, the part that should make every single one of us pay attention. A careers advisor once told her she didn't have it in her for fashion, didn't have it in her. Jess Wilson could have believed that. She could have shrunk. She could have played small. She could have gone home to that farm, taken the safe job, lived the predictable life. Instead, she dropped out, saved every dollar, networked her way through Silicon Valley on nothing but courage and conviction, joined a co working space called Fish Burners, teamed up with a tech co founder, and built the app in 6 weeks. 6 weeks. From a farm kid who started throwing after parties at 16 to a global app leader who saw shifts in fashion weeks that no one else was innovating on. Jess Wilson turned, "You don't have it in you," into "Watch me build it anyway." She didn't just prove the careers advisor wrong, she proved that the only opinion that matters is the one you hold about yourself. These three women, Jessicah Gatlin, Jessica Valenzuela, and Jess Wilson, they didn't just survive. They didn't just hustle. They maximized every single moment of their one life by doing three things that Jessicah Gatlin emphasized in our conversation. First, they persisted through doubters, careers advisors, naysayers, their own fears, the voices that said, "Not you, not now, not like this." They pushed past all of it because they understood that unlocking your full potential in this one precious life means refusing to let someone else's limitations become your ceiling. Second, they hunted opportunities others missed. They spotted the shifts. They connected the dots with hustle and courage. They built something revolutionary because they were paying attention when everyone else was looking away. And third, they surrounded themselves with smarter people. They networked boldly. They learned relentlessly. They turned "I don't know" into "I built it anyway" because they understood that maximizing every moment means being humble enough to ask for help and brave enough to take the leap. Now, let's bring this home to you, to us, to the high achieving Black women who've spent years in survival mode, leading teams, raising families, holding down households, carrying communities on our backs like it's our job, our calling, our only option. We've been taught that strength means never breaking, that softness is weakness, that saying no is selfish, that rest is something we earn after we've given everything to everyone else first. But here's what Jessicah Gatlin's message reminds us: life is a gift, and we're wasting it if we're spending it on other people's doubts, other people's expectations, other people's definitions of who we should be. Softness is not weakness. It's a radical act of self love. It's the deep exhale from the Superwoman script. It's the quiet, but powerful return to rest, self trust, and radical joy. And saying, no, that's not selfish, that's sacred. That's you protecting your peace as a practice. That's you creating space for joy, for rest, for boundaries that don't need explanation or apology. Because here's the truth: you can't maximize your one life if you're living everyone else's. You can't build something revolutionary if you're too busy carrying capes that were never yours to wear. You can't spot the opportunities others miss if you're too exhausted to see straight. And you can't surround yourself with smarter people if you're too afraid to admit you don't have all the answers. So let me ask you the questions that anchor this entire conversation. How are you learning to be soft in a world that taught you survival? What role, what mask, what responsibility are you no longer willing to carry? How has your definition of strength evolved? What does your soft girl era look and feel like right now? What past wound are you still tending to? And what's helping? How are you actively creating space for joy, rest, and boundaries? And how have you turned survival into something sacred or supportive for others? These aren't just questions, they're invitations, invitations to release the cape, to redefine strength, to embrace softness, to heal in real time, to protect your peace, to turn your pain into purpose. Because Jessicah Gatlin is right. Life is a special gift. And the only way to honor that gift is to take interest in being all we can be in this one life we have to live. Not the version of you shaped by family expectations, church roles, or boardroom rules. The real you, the one that's been waiting to bloom. Jessicah Jackley didn't wait. Jessica Valenzuela didn't wait. Jess Wilson didn't wait. And neither should you. So here's what I need you to do. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready, or when the timing is perfect, or when you've figured it all out. Today, right now, pick one doubt that's been holding you back, just one. Maybe it's the voice that says you're not ready. Maybe it's the fear that you'll fail. Maybe it's the belief that you don't deserve rest, joy, softness. Maybe it's the careers advisor who told you that you didn't have it in you. Maybe it's the family member who said your dreams were too big. Maybe it's your own inner critic who's been running the show for far too long. Pick that one doubt, name it, look it in the face, and then make the decision right here, right now, that it no longer gets to write your story. Then network with one smarter person this week. One, someone who's already doing what you want to do, someone who's already living in their soft girl era, someone who can show you that it's possible, that it's real, that you're not alone in wanting more for yourself. And then take one step towards your vision. One step, not 10, not a perfect plan, just one brave, bold, messy step. Send the email, make the call, start the project, book the trip, say the no, set the boundary, rest without guilt, dream without apology, because your one life demands it now. Life is a gift, and the only way to truly receive it is to stop wasting it on other people's doubts and start living it on your own terms. Drop the cape. Embrace the softness. Protect your peace. Build the life that's been waiting for you all along. This is your soft girl era, and it starts right now.